a Twitter thing. If you think that Dragonshire, bottom triangle, Bermuda triangle makes sense, let us know at HGC. Use the hashtag, of course, and tweet us at Heroes Esports.
And educate yourself first on Google what the Bermuda Triangle is. I give you the Triangle of Death. I give you that. But there's no ships getting lost in there.
I think I'm going to win this one. I'm ready for it.
You're definitely going to. You remember the black tie that you said was gray?
Yeah, I do remember that, but I'm colorblind. That's not my fault.
Or
Team Liquid.
No, it was my gray tie that you said.
That's what it was.
There
Yeah, it was brownish, something like that. I don't even remember, dude. That was so long ago. ETC and Vala picked up by Team Liquid. ETC again continuing to be a mainstay in Europe.
I love it. I always enjoyed ETC and see him in the meta. I think he's one of the tanks where if you're great with ETC, you have a huge impact, and if your EDC play is mediocre, your games are just going to be big throws. I think it's definitely one of those tanks where you need a lot of skill to continuously throughout the game have a massive impact. If you've ever watched a great ETC player on his personal stream, it is absolutely insane what they could pull off. Granted, every new player can every now and then hit a fantastic mosh pit, but without the use of your ult to always open up opportunities for your team to peel properly, that's something that really puts a great ETC player on the pedestal. So I love that the hero is back. I love that we have a bit more variety in tanks now too. So that's pretty sweet. And talking tanks, we have two banned out.
Yep.
Sonya, more in the melee assassin role, usually also one of those famous top laners, of course. And Garrosh banned out by Liquid as they just simply don't want to deal with it.
Garrosh makes sense. I mean, we saw it yesterday from the Zealots. They didn't win with it, but they did play it pretty well. But also, in North America, we are usually seeing Garrosh mixed with some kind of burst assassin. Chromie being one of those burst assassins.
Also, Garrosh 0-5 in Europe now.
Sad stats.
Hasn't won a single map. Which begs the question. Is Garrosh just not... Ah, love it. Vikings.
Ooh.
There we go. That was actually a Shad special back in the days to play the Vikings on Dragonshire. We're going to talk about this in a few moments. Zarya also taken as a bit of a second support here. I love this draft. I really love the idea behind it. Team Liquid again, of course, pushing a 4-man and trying to make that 4-man as strong as possible. With Oriel, they wanted a second support for Vala, but Tassadar is banned out, and Uther was already taken away. So they used Zarya, which first of all gives you a little bit more frontline potential, it gives you a bit more damage, and you still have something that helps to protect Vala in a pinch.
Still need some damage here for Zealots. I think the easy shoe in here would be a Grey main. Get the wave clear, you're able to set up. You can follow up on Chromie combos after you set someone in the first place. Anytime you get on the back line, you'll be able to handle the Vikings. He clears them up quickly. Any other assassins that really stand out to you?
I haven't even thought about that last pick. I'm still on the thought process with Garrosh, EU, and A meta, and with the Vikings coming in. But in terms of assassins, some sustainable damage. Greymane being picked here. If not for Greymane, any strong auto attacker. I think Greymane makes the most sense here. I don't like Lunara with an Uther as the solo heal against what we're seeing on the other side here, so I think Greymane is a fantastic choice, especially considering how the last game went. But I want to highlight quickly that we haven't really seen Genji in any of these two series yet.
Yeah, Genji falling off a little bit here. We saw him a couple times yesterday, but yeah, in this series we have yet to see him picked up.
I mean, yeah, we saw him yesterday. We usually see him every single game as a ban or a pick. That we don't see him is extremely rare. Now we had two of those. So that I find pretty impressive.
I'm okay with it.
I'm okay with it too.
I've seen enough Genji.
I would agree with that. I'm just saying that I think it's very interesting that that's the case right now. But I want to come back to my Garrosh point really quickly. What do you think is the reason there? Is it just simply that NA has figured the hero out and how to put him into a spot where he can shine? Is it just Roll20 with Justin playing him incredibly well? Or is it just simply that NA hasn't really figured out how to counter him properly yet?
I mean, I think it's just a combination of a couple of both those points, man. You look at Roll20 and they just love isolation-based comps, so they try to find someone they can pick off, and they excel at that. They've excelled at it for months now, and Garrosh just seems to be the perfect hero for them. Every other single team, it seems like they want to play a little bit more sustained-based, draw each other out, make a mistake happen, and they're able to kind of poke down that Garrosh. So maybe it comes down to practice and, of course, play style. Let's go ahead and start game number 2. Dragonshire here, best of 5 series. Will Zealots continue to be ahead here, or will Team Liquid tie it up?
It's a Team Liquid special as we see the Vikings once again. But first of all, to the left, Splendor on Oriel for Team Liquid. Hazorps on TLV. We have Blumby on ETC. Darkmog again on Vala in the second game. And Nurok on Zarya.
On the right side, in the red, Mopsio will be playing Johanna, Zarmany playing Dahaka once again, Poik on Greymane, Chad on Chromie, and Grandpa on Uther.
It's kind of fitting that Nurok is the one that plays Zarya, since he is, I think, moving to Moscow even. So, yeah.
Because she's Russian. Okay, for a second there I was like, because he shields people? Like, what?
No, his Russian is actually getting really good. I mean, I guess it helps to have a Russian girlfriend, but if you are Russian and you send him a tweet, he's probably able to reply in the same language. So I think that's pretty impressive. He's putting quite a bit of effort into it.
Whoa, but hang on, look at this. Look how they're separating the Vikings. They're putting 4 on the top here to move for the turrets, getting some energy built up, and the Vikings are going to be on controlling the middle and bottom duty.
Okay, so there's a few... There's so much to talk about just because of the laning setup already. Traditionally, what you're seeing, I mean, first of all, the thought process is the same. You have 4 heroes that are clumped together. That's why we were mentioning the 4-man that Team Liquid was trying to build during the draft, because the Vikings are soaking the remaining 2 lanes, so your 4-man is supposed to be as strong as possible. But traditionally, what you will see is the 4-man occupying the bottom space of the map, since through the bot lane, you have access to 2 different Siege Giant camps and also the Knight camp at the bottom of the map. Liquid now, with that rotation that they are currently starting with a 4-man, very good aggression by the Zealots, by the way, is putting a bit more emphasis towards the upper half of the map. And that allows now Liquid, then later on, with the Viking bribery, to take the 2 camps at the bot lane, if they can force Zealot rotations up to the top. So it's an interesting approach of Liquid that I haven't seen like this thus far, because one of the arguments that is oftentimes made is that with 2 Vikings at the top lane, you have a very easy access to one of the shrines.
I'm fine with it, but I hope that when the Giants begin to spawn, they move towards the middle and the bottom side. That's the reason why you have the bottom and middle actually handled by a 4-man, because Giants being bopped up means that's pressure your opponents can get, and if you aren't able to defend it, they just take it easily.
Yeah, but again, this is the point. If they are successful with a strong 4-man to force Zealots to respond in kind with 4 heroes at the top lane, or at least 3, there's very little chance of the Zealots taking their Giants, whereas you build up the Viking bribery stacks, and then you can sneak in and take them yourself.
Yeah.
So I think that's the thought process here. But for that to happen, you need to have enough pressure with your 4-man to force the reaction to the top, because if you just slack for a moment, the Zealots will simply rotate Greymane and another hero to the Viking, to the Siege Giant camp and take it away, and then your Vikings on the lane are in a lot of trouble.
I like it until after a fort is gone. I don't think you push across that bridge and moving towards the keep. I think you have to push in, but I like the early game advantages of it that you pointed out here. I think it'd be really good. And they're starting to rotate now to the middle, just trying to keep up with the movement. The drag does come in from Zarmany, it hops on top of Nurok, but he'll be fine there with shields.
Yeah, also, once again, the Vikings now splitting up on the 3 lanes. And the main reason why we have the 3 split oftentimes happening, at this point 2 are focusing on the bot lane, is because you try to get a few more stacks for the Viking bribery. And Liquid still rotates over to the camp, so they take it here. They have the 4-man in, but that gives, of course, up one of the top shrines. So there's a lot of uncharacteristic rotation games happening with a 4-man, and they even steal the bottom one away while the Vikings are soaking. They make it very difficult for the Zealots to anticipate what's happening.
Ah, the strengths of what a Viking can bring to you, man. Team Liquid able to grab both giant camps, and now they can set up and siege on the bottom side. Nice movement by them. I like the strategy now overall, especially now that they have moved in. If they stay to the top lane, I'd be a little bit disappointed, but so far the flow has been great. But I will also say, the Zealots are doing a decent job here of making sure they don't take too much damage on their forts. They'll lose an experience through their turrets in the front line, but at least they're holding the line.
Yeah, I like that rotation that they made a lot. I would have been completely fine with them just using Viking bribery at the bot lane and trying that a bit differently. But this is even better. I love that they are in a situation where they are just keeping Zealots guessing. And for Zealots, it's just a game of trying to react to Team Liquid's next move. But overall, the Zealots are holding experience, and they are putting a lot of pressure onto the top lane in particular, because they took a Knight camp a little bit earlier. So the more camps they can take, the more pressure they can put in. And now we have Hazorps also starting to rotate Balog top, which I really like, since the wave clear for them is going to increase a lot on that lane, and they need that against the push with the Knight camp.
Now, the Knight camp didn't get much up here. It's starting to, as the fort is taking some damage. There's going to be a kill on Olaf as well from Poik, and he is working on that fort, getting it down to half health. And so Team Liquid needs to make a decision, and right now it's a passive one. They're going to grab the Mercs on the bottom side.
Poik just knows exactly how to play these heroes, and every single player on the side of the Zealots are doing a fantastic fantastic job. Because this is the one disadvantage that you have when you're running that 4-man. Your opponent knows that all that he has to deal with is a Viking at the top lane. So this is why Greymane is this hyper-aggressive, since he knows there is no rotation coming his way. And this means the fort is down. So Zealots are actually taking a lead in infrastructure. And Team Liquid is now trying to set that aside again by taking a fort themselves, being extremely aggressive with Darkmook in particular here, thanks to that setup with Splendor. So it's a pretty cool and aggressive game that we have with Vikings playing a massive role here, of course, but starting to quite struggle at that top lane against Greymane.
Yeah, Greymane continues to move in towards that keep, and typically you would stay away from that bridge, but with it only being Olaf, Greymane doesn't mind being there. Zealots are doing everything they can to keep this 4-man together to stop that defense that could happen in that top lane. And Poik just keep moving forward. This is a night camp that still has 3 of the melees moving forward. They're going to be able to get towards that keep if Team Liquid can't answer back soon, and they're trying to grab a dragon in an attempt to stop that.
Yeah, just look how deep Greymane is. You would call him crazy in any other game, but simply because of that 4-man currently occupied at the bot or mid lane, they know they can make that happen. And Greymane, he is a menace when he can go into the structures. He took a Viking out again, and the Zealots, they are reacting so beautifully to that Viking pressure. I'm really, really enjoying it.
Yeah, they are, and they have hit 10 before their opponents, and they are looking for a fight. They are converging on this bottom side. They see Blumby, but they want to get a Splendor. You see Uther moving straight for it. Can he get the Ariel? No, he turns around and stuns Valla instead.
Zealots, absolutely fantastic play thus far. Ariel down as well. A double kill for the Zealots. And now Blumby is in trouble, but gets shielded. Nurok is able to keep him alive. And this is just absolutely fantastic play coming out from Zealots. I like how well they are reacting to the rotations that Liquid is pushing in.
How did the Zealots get so good? What happened, Kaldor?
I think their practice here just pays off, and it's even more so impressive since yesterday they've been talking about how originally they were struggling a bit when they picked practice up again. I also want to say that I still feel there's a couple of moves where Team Liquid could even be a bit more aggressive. Hazops, for example, used the Viking bribery to take their own camp, even though there were 4 heroes around. They could have easily bursted it down themselves. If he walks over to the opponent's Siege Giant camp and simply waits in one of those bushes, when it pops and they have vision on the heroes on the map, he can steal that away from them. I would have liked that move a lot more than taking their own camp, which was incredibly safe for them to take anyways.
Well, Zealots for the moment do pull away, waiting on those camps that you were just mentioning, while Blumby and crew are sitting in the middle, but they have yet to get much more since the early game. They've gotten the fort, but they can't seem to find an angle where they can poke in. And part of it is due to Zarmany and Mopsio, both in the tanks here, constantly anchoring and keeping eyes on them, and making sure they're not rotating without at least Chromie being able to chase back and be that anti-siege.
Also Chromie here with an absolutely fantastic goal, going straight for the Sands here. Slowing Sands used in a position that it was impossible for Liquid to initiate onto the camp. Liquid wanted that fight. They had a good angle there, but they couldn't go for it because of the Slowing Sands. Now Chromie poking away once again as Zarmany finds himself in the backline with a good drag against Oriel. The hit is in. Olaf goes down. Splendor surviving for now at least, but ETC is falling as well. And now it's time to fire away against Zarya and Oriel. Zarya already falling. The Detainment Strike is not hitting, and this is 4 heroes down on the side of Team Liquid. They are falling farther and farther behind as the Zealots are turning up the heat.
Zealots just obliterating in that team fight, and they'll come over and obliterate the fort too, opening up the middle lane. They'll be able to make a play for that bottom shrine at the same time and work on grabbing the dragon. Keep an eye on Chromie here. Zarmany on the side gets his Ariel, gonna be able to bring out the damage. Now, Olaf goes forward trying to force out the fight, but he winds up taking the shot for Ariel. The next target was Nurok. They turn around, bring out the combos. There's the Bronze Talons, and here's a big Q. Boom! There goes Ariel.
It's such an awkward split on the side of Team Liquid because you had Ariel just completely pushed away from the rest of the team, and the Slowing Sands of Shat just destroyed their team fight since they were never able to completely group up. And now we have the first Dragon Knight of the game. 9 minutes into the game. Top lane heavily under assault. The entire Bridge of Death already taken apart with the wall and the towers fallen. A lot of damage towards the keep now too, as we have the Zealots using the opportunity to move into the mid lane. This is fantastic play by the Zealots here, and Team Liquid is definitely shaken.
And a nice little lead here for Zealots. You're going to see Vola, if she ever gets hit with that Q there, especially with that big talent being picked up for Chromie at level 16, which is the 14. The shifting sands constantly poking away, constantly hitting multiple members. If they hit Ariel and Vola, they will always be junked down to around about half health. Here it comes though, as Zarmany is going to be pushing this side with a big explosion zone coming out. Nurok was intending to get the kill, but the team turns around and grabs the wall, and Zealots just back up.
Zealots back up for now, but I can't even begin to explain how much trouble Team Liquid is in. Their entire setup is designed to get a lot of value in the early game thanks to the strong foreman that they have, and they were attempting to underline that even more with those rotations that they made, trying to push reactions out of Zealots. And one of the thought process here is really, if you rotate the foreman and the Vikings still soak, then with the push power that you have, thanks to Vala, thanks to also Zarya, you can use any kind of delay of the rotation of your opponent to get a structure, get a tower, get maybe even a fort or just a well. And that never really happened. And the Zealots are now massively away. Liquid's only chance, more or less, is to try and simply gain Viking value in the late game and try and use that to their advantage. But it's incredibly difficult since the Zealots are not letting up at all. They are pushing their agenda now, especially since they are now hitting level 16 talents, which of course give them another edge. And keep in mind, Liquid hasn't got a single kill yet.
No, they haven't. And the Viking value you're talking about is constantly being shut down with the Honka just floating from between lanes, stopping everything from pushing in. Zealots pushing forward with this Chromie, sieging away. They are already on this bottom fort, pushing with a Giant, and look at them, always moving towards Vala, trying to get her low. If Vala can't get in and give damage to Ariel, how is Ariel going to get hope here to actually heal the team and allow for them to team fight?
It is incredibly difficult for Team Liquid to actually move into all of this. This is one of the big problems. Again, we have also Mopsio on Johanna just doing so much to peel for the team. And Shad's slowing sands are just fantastic. Liquid has such a rough time to really move into this because of the slowing sand positioning.
Mopsio.
And now Mopsio moves in, blast shield to the face, and boom, Zarya is down. Great flank by him at the perfect moment in time.
And look at Dahaka in the top lane. Again, pushing that lane that Greymane pushed earlier. Now Dahaka is able to move on that kill bridge and start putting a little bit more damage on top of that keep. With the shrines activating, he's able to peel on back. And this could be a dragon for Zealots. Mopsio's already on the bottom.
One of the big problems here, we touched on this earlier, but I want to highlight it again.
Ooh, Zarmany, hang on.
You have to keep this as a four-man. Who do you split off that four-man in order to deal with Dahaka? There is absolutely nobody. Dahaka might at this point finally fall because of a four-man rotation. But still, if you think about the heroes that we see in the four-man rotation of Team Liquid, who do you split off? Vala? To deal with him, then you have no damage in the four-man. ETC, he's your main tank. Oriel is the healer. The only hero where you could argue maybe is Zarya, and even that's a bad hero to try and deal with him. So it's just absolutely cool to see how the Zealots are playing this very calm and collected against the Vikings.